All right, here we go with the last objective of our inequalities unit, objective 19, solving linear inequalities, but now with distribution. So this is going to follow pretty similarly to all of the previous objectives, but now we're going to add an extra step, and that is step 1, to distribute. After that, it's pretty much the same as our previous objective, objective 18. So those same steps follow. So step 2 is, as always, combine like terms on each side of the equal sign. Combine like terms on each side of the equal sign. Our next step, step 3, is to get our variables on one side of the equal sign and our numbers on the other. So our variables on one side and our numbers on the other. And finally, our last step is to just solve as usual. So as a reminder, reverse PEMDAS, reverse order of operations. We want to flip the inequality when you multiply or divide by a negative on each side of the inequality. So we're going to flip the inequality when you multiply or divide by a negative on each side of the inequality. Okay, so let's go ahead and take a look at a few examples. This first one, step 1, we want to distribute. So I'm going to take this 3 and distribute it into each of these terms. We've got 3 times x is 3x. 3 times 1 is 3, so plus 3. Going to bring down the rest. Plus 2 is greater than 11. That's it. All the distribution is done. Now we can combine like terms. I see we have a plus 3 and a plus 2. That's going to give us a positive 5. And we'll bring down the rest. So we have 3x plus 5 is greater than 11. Let's choose the variables on one side and our numbers on the other. Let's say variables on the left-hand side and numbers on the right-hand side. So we're going to move this 5 to the other side. So we'll subtract 5. 11 minus 5 gives us 6. Our inequality gets brought down, and our 3x gets brought down. One last step, we divide both sides by 3, and we have x is greater than 6 divided by 3 is 2. And notice we did not flip the inequality because we're not dividing by a negative. To graph this, we're going to plot our 0. 2 is on the right-hand side of 0. This is just greater than, so we've got an open circle. And then using our arrow trick, we're going to shade to the right-hand side. All right, next up, step 1, distribute. So we're going to distribute the negative 2 into both of these terms. So that negative is going to carry along with us. So negative 2 times x is negative 2x. And then negative 2 times negative 2 is positive 4. So we're going to say plus 4. A lot of students will see this minus on the inside, and then they're going to write minus, and then 2 times 2 is 4. So if you're writing minus 4, remember that we're distributing the negative into a negative. So that's where we get that positive. So be careful when you're distributing. We're going to add our 6, our inequality, and then negative 4. Next up, we combine like terms. So I see a plus 4 plus 6. So our 4 and 6 becomes 10. So you have negative 2x plus 10 is greater than or equal to negative 4. We'll choose again our left-hand side to be our variables and our right-hand side to be our numbers. So we got to move that 10 to the other side. So we'll subtract 10. On the left-hand side, we have negative 2x is greater than or equal to negative 4 minus 10 is negative 14. I'm running out of space, so I'll write that up here. Negative 2x is greater than or equal to negative 14. Okay. Our last step, we're going to get x by itself, we divide by negative 2. Now, we're dividing by a negative, so what do we have to do? We got to flip our inequality. So now we're looking at less than or equal to. We're flipping it. Negative 14 divided by negative 2 is positive 7. Okay, so let's go ahead and graph. We're going to plot our 0 and then 7. 7's on the right-hand side. This is less than or equal to, so that or equal to tells us it's a solid circle or shaded circle. Using our arrow trick, so less than or equal to, let's use the arrow. We're going to shade to the left-hand side. So we're going to shade to the left. And we've got this graph here. One more example. Step 1, we're going to distribute. So we're going to distribute our 4 into each of these terms. So 4 times x is 4x. 4 times negative 2 is negative 8. And then we'll bring down our 2x minus 1. We'll bring down our inequality and our 15. All right, next step is to combine like terms. I see we've got a 4x and a 2x. That gives us 6x. You see we have a negative 8 and a negative 1. That gives us negative 9, so minus 9. We'll bring down our inequality and our 15. Let's say our variables on our right-hand side, because we've already got them on the right-hand side. So then our numbers on the left-hand side. So we got to move this negative 9, this minus 9, to the other side. So in order to move that, we got to add 9. So we have 15 plus 9 is 24, is greater than or equal to 6x. And then we have, to get x by itself, we divide both sides by 6. 24 divided by 6 is 4, which is greater than or equal to x. Now, in order to graph this, we got to flip it around. So we're going to flip it. We're going to put x on the left-hand side. We'll flip our inequality. We'll put 4 on the right-hand side. Okay, let's graph it. So to graph, we have 0. We've got 4 is positive. And then using our arrow trick, we're going to draw on our arrow. It tells us to shade to the left. Oh, and this is or equal to. So this is a solid circle. And then we're going to shade to the left-hand side. All right. And that's it for our inequalities unit. This is objective 19, solving linear inequalities. We're going to get some review and then we'll talk about the test. We'll see you later. Have a great day, everyone.